let's start with the Coaching Federation definition. So you see, it's a reflective process, and it's about supporting coaches in their personal, professional, and ethical capacity and maturity. So, Barbara, what you were saying, as the coach matures, then there might be more opportunities to work with that points, that the dots that the coach can bring together. And exactly that is the case. Here you might notice that it's about collaboration, guidance, and support. So you might already notice it's not coaching a coach anymore. There is a variety of support that a supervisor can provide to the practitioner, to the coach in our case. So there will be guidance, there will be, Christina, a bit more than what you said, probably no suggestions. You said there might be suggestions here. The supervisor is allowed to provide suggestions, provide knowledge, provide input. So it's a freer space of support than coaching. And it is focusing on that professional, actually all about the profession. We work with the personal capacity, but for the profession of our practitioner, in our case, the coach. And I also like the EMCC definition. Interesting, I find in the supervision EMCC a bit more, has more maturity, I think, the supervision concept in the EMCC world. So the focus is about the dialogue, the reflective dialogue, and reflection is very highlighted in the supervision. So supervisor provides this reflective space where we go beyond provoking thinking, we break boundaries. So we really create these moments of, yeah, I think differently about my situation. And still the purpose is supporting the practice, the development, and well-being of the supervisee, of the coach in our case. So what makes supervision important? You already said you were inspired that we need to be professionals and therefore we need supervision. ICF now highlights this even more. You might have seen the competencies got an update in the ICF, and we are also updating our content for that. And in the core coaching competency 2 embodies coaching mindset. ICF is highlighting the coach works with a supervisor, mentor when needed. Yeah, the supervision is now part of the competencies as well. So we are getting more and more invited to work with supportive professionals in our coaching practice. And supervision is one of the most important ones of them. So what happens in the supervision is we are able to resource ourselves. So coaches can resource themselves through getting new tools, having new resources, using different models to reflect on their situation, but also take home with them to their coaching practice. And there might be also like expanding their coaching practice to new areas such as diversity, equity, inclusion. So that might be where the coach would benefit from the supervision. Then we come to the place of which I find that I regularly hear from our community members. So yeah, something like this happened in my coaching and I felt overwhelmed, or I was triggered in this situation. So there's a certain emotional load that I'm experiencing through my coaching practice or in certain coaching sessions. And this is something that I can bring to my supervisor as well, so that it will have the ability to restore my potential, my well-being once more, and develop a new perspective and ability to welcome whatever comes in my coaching conversations. And lastly, it's also the place for benchmarking myself. That means that maybe I'm checking, there's a situation and where does it fall in terms of ethics? So maybe I'm contracting with new people and I have a doubt that it might be a breach of confidentiality, or is it going out of my coaching practice? Am I falling more into the field of therapy? When is the right time to refer a client to the therapy? Or it might be as well, like, I'm so experienced, how am I actually selling my services? Right? How am I benchmarking myself when it's about my professionalism? So that might be also a place where supervision can help. here are some use cases. We already talked about this, but just for our inspiration once more. What we can bring to supervision is difficult coaching sessions. It might be where maybe I felt, a coach felt stuck. It might be like, I had a sense it could be better, deeper, more impactful, or I was triggered and I tried to overcome my trigger, so I skipped that bit. I was faster than I wanted. So anything that felt challenging can be part of the conversation. So I might get the other perspective on my own work. I have my supervisor that I can discuss with to check where I am standing. Imposter syndrome can be one thing that I bring. So am I showing up with my full presence and strength in my professional field? Stepping into authority, being with not knowing. So in my coaching conversation, do I try to lead the conversation or do some suggestion maybe? And I notice that and I want to change it. I might want to deepen my coaching practice. I might have the question mark if it's now the time to refer my client to therapy. Maybe I will start working with someone else. Maybe I will deliver a team coaching session and now I have a co-coach. I have never worked with a co-coach before, or I had maybe previous conflicting experiences with the person I'm going to work with. And that might be a great place to resource myself for the next time I'm going to work with this person. And what patterns and themes are emerging. So to bring different coaching sessions, maybe to make sense of all this about how am I showing up? What does this tell me about my possibilities, possible pitfalls, but also resources that then I design for myself a better business and better showing up in my coaching sessions. And such as ethical issues like confidentiality. So these are the places that we could enter into a supervision conversation, but I'd say you'll learn better when you experience supervision. Therefore, the invitation is now for you to experience it.